Hello friends, I Nicobar welcome you all to this FTR series on Competition Community's YouTube channel. And today it will be the second session of Polity FTR, wherein we will be dealing with important objectives, important MCQs related to these many topics: fundamental rights, DPSP's fundamental duties in judiciary. These topics have already been mentioned in your schedule, which has been provided to you in the link of the Telegram. You can get the schedule and the PDF of all the questions dealt in a session in the description below. So, those you all have not yet subscribed to our English medium channel, do subscribe it, because only this is the platform wherein you will be getting all the important stuff related to your competitive exams, related to especially the CGPSC exam in English language. So let us start today's session with question number 1. So question number 1 reads as, which of the following fundamental rights is provided to both Indian and foreign citizens? The question has been taken from the section of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. And the question asks that which of the following has been given to Indian and foreign citizens? Foreign citizens means people who are residing in India but are the natives or are the citizens of any other country other than India. Fine. Is it right of equality in front of law, protection of life and personal liberty, equality of opportunity in the matter of public affairs, or both A and B? What will be the correct answer? Answer will be D, both A and B. Actually, this question has been asked from a clause about the fundamental rights, which says that although all the fundamental rights are meant for aliens, that means foreign citizens who are residing in India, as well as for citizens of India, but there are few other rights, there are few rights from them only, which are specially mentioned for Indian citizens, like Article 15, 16, 19, 29, and 30. These 5 articles are meant only for the citizens of the country and not for the aliens. Opposite of a citizen is an alien, right? Alien means foreign citizen who is residing in the country. So, Constitution says that these rights are only for the citizens of the India and not for the aliens, because these rights contain such provisions which, if given to the foreigners, can be misused or can be discriminatory on part of Indian citizens. Fine. So these rights are granted only to the citizens of India. So the question which is asked here is, which of the following fundamental rights provided to both Indian and foreigners? So except these rights, rest of the rights are provided to both Indian citizens and aliens. Firstly, we need to know that in which articles of the Constitution fundamental rights are mentioned. So we all know that in the part 3 of the Constitution, from Article 12 to 35, fundamental rights, everything about fundamental rights are mentioned, and especially the list of the fundamental rights is given in Article 14 to Article 32. Article 12 to 35 is the part 3, which tells everything about fundamental rights, but especially the list, which contains one by one the list or the fundamental right, is the 14 to 32 article, right? So from 14 to 32, these articles are meant for citizens only. The rest articles in this range are meant for aliens and citizens both. Fine with that? So let us check the given options and then we'll see how option D is correct. Right of equality in front of law. Which article is this? It is Article 14. Protection of life and personal liberty. Which article is this? It is 21. Equality of opportunity in the matter of public affairs. Which article is this? It is 16. So as you can see here, the option C is Article 16, which is one of the articles mentioned only for the citizens. So option C is not meant for aliens. It's not meant for foreigners. But option A and B, 14 and 21, is not in this list. Therefore, both these rights are meant for Indians as well as foreigners. Therefore, option D is right, because A and B both are given to foreigners as well. Fine with that? Therefore, the answer will be option D, both A and B. Fine. If there is any doubt, which comes to your mind related to why this, why that, why this not, why that not. You can freely ask all your doubts related to the topic, related to the question, related to the explanation in the comment section below. Fine. Now with that, let us move on to the next question. Question number 2. Question number 2 is, who called directive principles of state policy as soul of the Constitution? It is a direct factual question, and this type of question has been asked many a times in recent papers, whether it be related to DPSP, the fundamental duties, the fundamental rights, or it be related especially to the preamble. We need to study the statements, we need to study the criticisms, we need to study the titles given by few important intellects to the particular part of the Constitution. That is purely a factual question. If you know this, or else there's no other option out. Fine. So DPSP, firstly, we need to know the topic about which this question is asking. It is DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, which has been mentioned in Part 4 of the Constitution from Article 36 to 51. Article 36 to 51. DPSPs are actually general guidelines or instructions given by the Constitution to the governments at central and the state level. These guidelines assist the central and the state governments and the standard and the state legislatures to frame laws and to frame policies. DPSCs are a few such laws which were envisaged by the Constitution framers, but these laws were not implemented at that time because of the circumstances which prevailed that time. But Constitution framers said that if it is possible in future that these laws can be made, then the government should take steps to frame laws in accordance to the DPSPs. DPSPs are simply the guidelines which could lead to a perfect nation theory. Fine. So DPSP is a list of guidelines. It is a type of the moral duties which has been mentioned for the central and the state government. It is fundamental for the governance. Do remember this once it has been asked that which of the following is fundamental for the governance. Just because we hear the word fundamental, we think either it is fundamental rights or fundamental duties. But in this case, if it is asked fundamental for governance, then it is DPSP, because this list is meant only for the governments and not for the people. For people, there is a list of fundamental rights and the fundamental duties. So rights and duties are fundamental to the people, whereas the DPSPs are fundamental to the governance of any country. Fine. So these DPSPs are very important, and owing to its importance, it has been titled in many ways, and one such title has been given by Sir Granville Austin, and he called it as the soul of the Constitution. So we got the answer, option B, Granville Austin is the correct answer. He only termed DPSPs as soul of the Constitution. Fine with that. Let us move on to the question number 3 now. Okay, this question is again from the section of DPSP. There are many statements which are being mentioned here, and a code is given, and you are being asked which of the following statements are incorrect. Firstly, read out the question cautiously. Read out the question carefully. It is not asking the true statement, it is asking the false statement. Sometimes the language which it uses twists your mind in a different way and you get misguided. But once you read the question carefully, it will always lead to a correct answer if you know the concept behind it. So it is asking the which of the following statements is or are incorrect. Let us first read out the statements one by one, and then we'll come to the conclusion. The directive principles of state policy cannot be enforced by court. So we won't be only reading these options, we'll be side by side analyzing each and every option. We'll see that which statement is true, which statement is false. We'll be taking right and wrong here only, and then we'll see the codes given below. Okay, the directive principles of state policy cannot be enforced by court. Is this option or this statement correct? Yes, this is correct. Because we all know that along with fundamental duties, DPSP is also non-justiciable in nature. Non-justiciable means it is only prescriptive in nature, and if it is not followed, no judicial proceedings can be done against a person. It cannot be challenged in court. So this statement is correct because it is non-justiciable, cannot be enforced by the court. Fine. Let us look at the second statement. The objective of directive principle of state policy is establishing social and economic democracy. This statement is correct. A perfect democracy was envisaged by the constitutional framers, and according to them, if all the important rules or in all the important prescriptions and instructions given in the DPSPs were turned into laws, then the democracy could be implemented in a perfect manner. And according to them, DPSPs, if implemented, will definitely lead in establishing the social and economic democracy. So this statement is absolutely correct. Fine. Coming to the third one, directive principles encourages individual welfare. Is this statement correct? No, it is wrong. It doesn't encourages individual welfare, it encourages public welfare. The intention of including DPSPs in Constitution was not to encourage the rights or the welfare of an individual of the society, but of the society itself, of all the groups, of all the communities. So it was more a target towards encouraging the government to frame such laws which could lead to public welfare, not the individual welfare. Fine. So it is not individualistic. So this statement is wrong. So we have got one such statement which could be a part of our answer, because here incorrect statement has been asked. Coming to the fourth one, directive elements are negative. It prohibits the state to work on some matter. This statement is also incorrect because these statements are not negative and it doesn't prohibit. In fact, opposite to it, these are positive statements and it encourages. If you just replace these two words with the words I have written here, then it will be a correct statement. DPSPs actually are positive elements and they encourage the state to work on some matter. Fine. So the words written here plainly gives it a negative character. So this statement is wrong. Fine. Coming to the fifth statement, laws are needed to enforce the directive principles. Yes, these are non-justiciable and they cannot itself be implemented. They need legislations to be framed at central state level to get implemented. Fine. So this statement fifth is correct. So we have analyzed all the 5 given statements and out of which we had to pick the incorrect one. So the answer would be an option which will contain option 3rd and option 4th. So which code contains this? Option B. Yes, the correct answer is option B because 3rd and the 4th statements are incorrect. Rest all are correct. So all these statements were related to the importance and the features of DPSP. We had to analyze. These types of questions are oftenly asked in PSC. You all might be knowing this. In polity, you won't be getting a very direct and a very simple question. You will be getting these types of questions only, mostly these types of question, or if it is a direct question, it has to be a hard question. Fine. So the section which it covered was the features of DPSP. Fine. Let us move on to next question, question number 4. Which is not included in freedom of expression under Article 19. Article 19 has always been an important part of fundamental rights and a favorite part of the examiner from where he always frames a question whether it be a subjective or an objective question. You need to read this article, you need to understand this article in a bit detail so as to know all the descriptions and all the explanations behind this Article 19. So you need to understand this particular article in detail, and rest of articles, I'll be telling you few important articles. A question is also framed related to those articles, that which are the most important articles of fundamental rights. In that question, I'll be telling you which are the most important rights and which articles, which fundamental rights you have to study in detail. And one such article is Article 19, which deals with the right to freedom. Right to freedom, and it gives protection of 6 types. Means 6 types of individual freedom are mentioned over here. And the question which is asked here is, which is not included in freedom of expression? Means an option will be here which is not one amongst the 6 types of freedom mentioned in Article 19. So let us decode which could be the answer. Freedom of expression and speech, yes, it is a part, so it is not the answer. Freedom of forming associations and committee, yes, forming association is also an individual freedom mentioned in 19, so it is not the answer. Freedom of armless and peaceful conference, yes, conference, assemblies, associations, all these are a part of Article 19. So above 3 or the initial 3 statements are a part, so these are not the answers. And the only left is Statement D, which reads as right to move anywhere in the world without obstacle. Many of you might be thinking that it is also mentioned in Article 19, because if I tell you what are the 6 types of freedoms given in Article 19, one is speech and expression, second is forming association, third is organizing conferences or assemblies, fourth is moving anywhere in the country, fifth is residing anywhere in the country, and sixth is adopting any of the profession of your choice. So freedom of residence, freedom of movement, freedom of profession, freedom of forming associations, assemblies, and freedom of expression. These are the 6 types of rights given in 19. So there is a freedom of movement also. But this option D is wrong. There is some element which is mentioned in this option, which is also included in Article 19, but exactly this statement doesn't come under Article 19. Because the Article 19 says a person in the country is free to move anywhere inside the country, not in the world. Inside the country, not inside, throughout the world. So if a person wants to move outside the country, if a person wants to go for a foreign tour or foreign visit, this right doesn't come under Article 19, actually comes under Article 21. Right to life and personal liberty. So personal liberty, the description or the explanation of personal liberty has many aspects, and one such aspect is you have a personal liberty to take a decision of moving outside the country. So if you're going outside the country, that is your individual decision, and that will be covered under Article 21 and not under Article 19. Do remember this, it is a confusing statement, that's why I have taken this question. A type of this question has been already asked in PSC. Go through the question papers, solve papers, you'll find one such question related to this. Fine, so answer is option D. Right to move anywhere in the world without obstacles. I hope that is clear. Coming to question number 5. Which fundamental rights are called golden triangle? Moments ago, I had been telling you that there are a few important fundamental rights which you have not only to read but also have to understand in detail. And there is a question in the session today which will be asking important fundamental rights or the most important fundamental rights, and that question is this one only. Golden triangle. The golden triangle comprises of 3 such fundamental rights which are considered as the most important one. Yes, golden triangle means most important fundamental rights, and the constitutional intellects consider these 3 rights as the most important rights to implement rule of law in India. We all know that there is a rule of law in India, and according to the constitutional intellects, these 3 rights which come under Golden Triangle actually help in implementing rule of law, in implementing the fact that there can't be any arbitrary law, there can't be any discrepancies in the implementation of law. So all the soul of rule of law can be implemented by these three articles of fundamental rights only. Fine with that? So which are those three articles which forms the Golden Triangle? Is it 14, 15, 17? Or it is 14, 19, 21? Or 32, 29, 30? Or 19, 20, 21? Which is the correct answer? It is 14, 19 and 21. Option B is correct. 14, 19 and 21. Right to equality, right to freedom, in which 6 types of freedom are provided, and right to life and personal liberty. These 3 articles has to be dealt in detail. You not only need to read these articles, you also need to understand them in depth. Fine? So these are the 3 important, or I can say the most important articles of fundamental rights called as Golden Triangle. Moving on to the next question, question number 6. It is a question of match the following and is related to the writs. On one side, the name of the writs are written, and on the other side, their meaning. We all know such a type of question is often asked in the PSC just because the names of the writs are not in English language, it is in the Latin language. So the verbal meaning of those words, the writs, are often been asked and have been asked many a times in competitive exams, whether it be of UPSC or PSC or Vyapam. So, as you all know, that 5 types of writs are mentioned in Article 32 of Fundamental Rights. In Article 32, wherein the constitutional remedies are mentioned, 5 writs are defined as the tool for the remedy of the Constitution. These 5 writs can be issued by the judiciary of the country, and by issuing these writs actually means order or command. Writ in itself is a Latin word which means order or command, and once the judiciary releases these writs, orders or command, so the type of writ which it releases or it issues, that type of a writ executes as an order of the judiciary to the concerned group, authority or individual, or the unit of the government or any employer or common person. So that is a type of command which a judiciary gives to any group, unit or individual. Fine. So these are the 5 types of writs mentioned in Article 32. Fine. And out of those 5 writs, 4 writs are mentioned here, and you have to know the meaning here. You have to tell the meaning here, because as I said, the names of these writs are not in English. These are mostly in Latin. So let us decode. Habeas corpus. What does it mean? It means to be presented. Corpse means a dead body. Fine. Or a body actually. So habeas corpus is a Latin word which means to bring the body off or to present the body off. Fine. And this writ is normally issued by the judiciary whenever a person who has been arrested is not presented before the magistrate within 24 hours. Fine. Secondly, mandamus. It is also Latin word which means we command or we order. Judiciary often releases or issues this writ when a government official denies his duty, the duty which has been given to him by the government. So, the judiciary issues a writ of mandamus to that government official and commands him to perform his duty. We command you to perform your duty. It actually verbally means that. Fine. So, it is issued for a government official, for a government individual. It is an order for that individual to perform his duty. Fine. So, its verbal meaning is we command. Coming to the third one, prohibition. It is an English word and it very simply means to stop. Prohibition is a writ which is oftenly issued by a higher court to a lower court. It is issued by a Supreme Court to High Court, or it is issued by High Court to District Court. Prohibition is oftenly issued when the lower court takes any decision outside its jurisdiction, outside its authority. Say for example, if a district court takes any decision or gives any verdict or judgment which is beyond its jurisdiction, which is beyond its authority, which is beyond the authority of the district. It might be a case of the state level, it might not be a case of the district level, or it might be a case of some other district and that particular district court is not authorized to take the decision. It might be a case, fine. So then too, knowing all these things, district courts takes a decision. Then the High Court will issue a writ of prohibition for the district court and will say that I prohibit you to take that decision. And once the prohibition writ is issued for that district court, the district court will stop the verdict or stop the judgment which it has given beyond the authority. Fine. So if a court goes out of its authority, beyond its authority, the higher courts has the command of that lower court through prohibition. Fine? Okay. Coming to certiorari, it is also a Latin word which means to be certified, to inform, or to be authorized. It is also a writ which is issued by a higher court to a lower court, but it is positive in character. Prohibition was a negative writ, a similar type of writ, but in a negative sense. But certiorari means when a higher court commands the lower court to not only prohibit the judgment which it has taken beyond its jurisdiction, but also transfer that case to any other court which is authorized, which is certified to take the decision. Therefore, its name is certiorari. Transfer the judgment, transfer the case to any other court which is authorized or which is certified to take this decision. It might be a case like, say for example, if a district court takes a decision outside its jurisdiction area and that case belongs to some other district. So High Court will command this district court that stop this decision which you have taken and transfer that case to district B, which is authorized to take a decision on that case. Fine. So that is certiorari. So we have got the matches for all the names of the writs. Let us look at the court, which is the correct answer. For 1 it is B, or for A it is 2, for B it is 1. Let us look at the options. For A it is 2. For A it is 2, yes. There is only one such option where A is matched with 2 and B is matched with 1, and it is option B. Let us check out the other options as well. C 4, D 3. Yes, answer is option B. The correct answer is option B. Right? So, because I have told you about the 4 writs, let me tell you about the one remaining writ also, so that your initial understanding of the writ at least can be completed. And the 5th type of writ is quo warranto. Quo warranto. Quo warranto verbally means by what warrant, by what warrant, or by what authority. By what warrant or by what authority. This quo warranto writ is issued by a judiciary to any official, to any employee, to any public officer who has occupied his post which is doubtful. The judiciary asks that person that by what authority or by what warrant have you occupied that post. It might be a case that a person who is sitting in a particular post might not be qualified to hold that post. Fine. So few people might be dubious about his eligibility to hold that post. So they will file a writ, or they will urge the judiciary to issue a writ to that person so that he could give an explanation, that person could give an explanation that what all eligibilities he holds to occupy that post. Fine. So if a person asks or urges the judiciary will issue the quo warranto writ, and that person, after receiving this quo warranto writ, has to give the explanations that by what authority or by what warrant he is occupying this post, how is he eligible to sit on the post. Fine. So these are the 5 types of writs which are mentioned in Article 32, and we have got the correct answer. We have already got the correct answer for this question, and that is B. I hope that is clear. Coming to the next question, question number 7. Which of the following statements are correct in relation with the fundamental rights? So this question is again from the section of fundamental rights. Do remember this, out of all the topics I had mentioned initially, the most important topic is fundamental rights only. For today's session, the most important topic is fundamental rights only. So you see that there are many questions which I had taken from fundamental rights, because most variety of questions out of all the topics I had mentioned is from fundamental rights section only. Therefore, we have taken so many questions. So this question is a multiple statement question wherein you have to find the correct statement out of the given one. Which of the following statements are correct in relation to the fundamental rights? We will be reading the statements one by one and we'll be analyzing it then and there. It can be challenged in courts. Can fundamental rights be challenged in courts? Yes, it is right, because we know that out of the three parts of the philosophy of the Constitution, that is fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and DPSPs, only fundamental rights are justiciable. FR are justiciable. Few questions back we had seen that DPSPs are non-justiciable and fundamental duties are also non-justiciable, but it is justiciable. Fundamental rights are justiciable and therefore can be challenged in courts. So this statement is correct. These rights are absolute. Are fundamental rights absolute? No. This statement is incorrect. Why? Because fundamental rights are not mentioned in the Constitution without any limitations, without any clauses. All the fundamental rights has its exceptions and limitations attached with them. These rights are not granted to you without any clauses or limitations or exceptions. You need to abide by the clauses or the exceptions mentioned along with all the fundamental rights, and then only you can enjoy these rights. So these are not given to you absolutely. There is a limit to each and every fundamental right. Fine. So the statement is wrong. Coming to the third statement, these rights can be deprived during national emergency. We all know this is correct. It is one of the features of the national emergency. Whenever there is a national emergency imposed in the country, the Constitution says that except Article 19, press fundamental rights can be suspended for the time period of emergency. So this is a correct statement. Coming to statement number 4, these rights are only provided to Indian citizens. We had seen the question number 1 that fundamental rights are not only provided to the Indian citizens but also for the aliens except few. So saying that all the rights are meant for Indian citizens, it is not true. So option 4 is also wrong. Right? Coming to the statement number 5, it is mentioned in part 4 of the Constitution. Is it correct? No. It is the basics which you need to know. Fundamental rights, as I said a few moments ago, are mentioned in part 3 of the Constitution and not part 4. So out of all the given statements, only statement number 1 and 3 are correct. So which will be the correct answer? Option C. Option C is the correct code to the given question. Fine. I hope you understood. If there is any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Coming to the next question, question number 8. Which of the following fundamental duty is not under Indian Constitution? Okay. 4 statements are given and you have been asked which is not one of the fundamental duty enlisted in Constitution. Let us read the statements one by one. Voting in public elections, development of scientific instincts, protection of public property, regarding the Constitution and respecting its ideals. So, it is a question framed from the section of fundamental duty now. We all know that fundamental duties have been mentioned in part 4A of the Constitution, in Article 51A, and there is a list of 11 duties which is given in Article 51A. These duties were added by the 42nd Amendment, 1976. Initially, by this amendment, only 10 duties were added, and later, by the 86th Amendment, 2002, one more duty was added. So, total, on and all, there are 11 duties presently. All those things which I have penned down here are the most important facts related to fundamental duties. And one more thing, these duties have been adopted or been influenced by the Constitution of USSR. Fine. So questions oftenly come from these facts only. You need to know basically these three things, these few things about the duties. And apart from this, you also need to memorize all the 11 duties. Presently, there are 11 duties. You need to memorize those duties because such a question is oftenly asked that which of the following is not one of the fundamental duties or which of the following is one of the fundamental duties. So if you know all the 11 duties, it is not necessary that you memorize it word by word. You at least should know that what is mainly covered in a particular duty. It is not to be memorized word by word. It only has to be memorized through keywords. Fine. So if you know all the 11 duties, you'll be able to answer this. Development of scientific instinct is a fundamental duty. It is one of the duty mentioned in the list of 11. Protection of public property is also there, and respecting the constitution and its ideal is also there. Voting in public election is not a fundamental duty, and therefore the answer is A. Voting in public election is not a fundamental duty. It is a legal duty. Legal duties, we are not obliged to follow the legal duties, nor it is mentioned there in the constitution. Voting was recommended by the committee which was formed for the fundamental duties incorporation in the constitution, that is Sardar Swaran Singh committee. Sardar Swaran Singh committee recommended that voting should be made a fundamental duty, but when this list was instituted in the constitution, voting was not included in the list. Although was recommended, was not included. You need to remember. So voting is not a fundamental duty. Fine. So remember all these facts related to fundamental duty. It's a very small part. It is a very small section. Comparatively, it's an easier one. And the variety of questions from this section also are lesser. Right. So that is it. Option A is the correct answer. Now let's move on to question number 9. Okay, question number 9 is again a question from the fundamental duties. It is a multiple statement question which reads as, which of the following is not true related to fundamental duties? You have to analyze the statements one by one, and then we'll be looking at the code and we'll be trying to find out the correct answer. Payment of taxes is a fundamental duty. So again, if you have learned all the 11 fundamental duties, then you'll be able to answer that whether payment of taxes is a part or not. So if you know, it is not a part. It should be, but it is not a part. Fine. You have to pay the tax, but it is not your constitutional duty to pay the tax. Right? Sardar Swaran Singh committee recommended for including tax payment as a fundamental right. This statement is true. As I said, Sardar Swaran Singh committee, which was formed in the 1975, this committee only recommended the inclusion of fundamental duties influenced from the USSR constitution in the constitution, and by the recommendation of this committee only, by the 42nd Amendment 1976, fundamental duties was added. Fine. So Sardar Swaran Singh committee gave its recommendation and gave a list of many duties, which also included the duty of voting, also included the duty of family planning, and also included the duty of payment of tax. Swaran Singh committee said that payment of tax should be a fundamental duty, but it was not later included. It was a recommendation, but was not included. Fine. So it is not a duty, but was recommended by this committee. So first is wrong, second is right. Fundamental duties are also meant for foreigners residing in India. I had already discussed with you that fundamental rights are meant for all the people who are residing in the country, whether they be citizens or aliens. Are fundamental duties also mentioned for both? No. This statement is wrong because fundamental duties are meant only for the citizens and not for the aliens. Our constitution gives the right to aliens as well, but doesn't expect any duties from the aliens residing in the country. Fine. So it is meant only for the citizens and not for the aliens. So we have analyzed all the three given statements. Now let us look at the code and we'll try to find out the answer according to the question, which is not true. The question asked here is, which of the following is not true? So the statement 1 is not true and the statement 3 is not true. So the statement 1 is not true and statement 3 is not true, is incorrect. So the correct answer will be Option D, 1 and 3, because incorrect statement has been asked. Fine with that? So that is it with question number 9. Now let us move on quickly to the question number 10. It is again a question of match the following, and it is a question from the section of Judiciary. Judiciary was also mentioned as the topic of today's session. So this question comes from that section. On one side, union territories are mentioned, and on the other side, the judiciaries or the high courts are mentioned. And you have to match the union territories with the high courts to which they belong. We all know this, that apart from Delhi, rest all the union territories have a common high court. Even Jammu and Kashmir has a common high court. It shares its high court with Ladakh. Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir has one common high court, and that is Jammu Kashmir High Court. There are many such high courts which have more than one state or union territories as a jurisdiction area. Fine. So this question is asked from that section only. Apart from Delhi, as I said, rest other union territories do not have its high court inside its own territory, but its jurisdiction is done in a high court which is in any other state. So that is a common high court for that state and that union territory as well. Fine. Like for example, as I said, Jammu Kashmir High Court. It is only one high court. It covers both Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Both the union territory has the same high court. Like for example, I'll take an example which is not mentioned here. Chennai High Court. Chennai. It not only covers Tamil Nadu, which it will obviously cover. It not only cover Tamil Nadu, it also covers Puducherry. Right? So Puducherry is a union territory. We all know it doesn't have its own high court inside any of the territories. It shares its high court with Tamil Nadu's Chennai High Court. Fine. So that type of a question is asked here. Like Puducherry's high court is what? Chennai High Court. So what is the high court for Lakshadweep? What is for Daman Diu? What is there for Chandigarh and Andaman? So let us start matching. By now, I hope you all might have matched the correct answer and you might have got the answer. So be ready for the live session which I'll take after one session, right? Today's is the second session of FTR. One more session to go. You are being given the schedule of the sessions, and the fourth session will be live, in which I'll be dealing with the questions of the topics which I have already dealt in the first 3 episodes, and also with the miscellaneous topics which are not mentioned in the schedules but are oftenly been asked in the exams. So get ready for the live session. Fine. Okay, let us now come to the question. Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay. The High Court which covers it is Calcutta High Court. Chandigarh, Punjab and Haryana High Court. Daman Diu, Bombay High Court. Lakshadweep, Kerala or Ernakulam High Court. So, it is not a twisted one. It is a simple, straightforward match the following, and answer is 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. So, which of the given options are related to this? 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. Okay, option A is the correct answer because the matches we have done is given in the code A. Fine. So I hope you understood from which section it has been asked and what all you have to study to solve this type of objectives. Fine. Coming to question number 11. Which of the following statement is not true regarding Supreme Court of India? Again, a statement analysis question is given here, and it has been asked that which of the following statement is not true, is incorrect again. Fine. The number of judges of Supreme Court can be changed. True or false? True. Constitution of the country has not mentioned any fixed range or fixed number of judges which can be there in Supreme Court. It can be changed time to time by the Parliament of India. Like earlier, there were only 31 judges. Few years back, there were only 31 judges. But recently, you might have heard, the Parliament has passed a law in which the number of judges has been increased from 31 to 34. 34, now the Supreme Court will include 33 judges plus 1 Chief Justice and on, 34 judges. So time to time Parliament makes or frames such legislations which could increase or decrease the number of judges in the Supreme Court. So the statement 1 is correct, that it can be changed. Fine. Supreme Court of Delhi was inaugurated on 28th January 1949. Is it correct or wrong? It is incorrect. It is false. Why so? Because it was not inaugurated on 28th January 1949. It was inaugurated on 28th January 1950. 2 days after our constitution was enforced and the First Republic Day was celebrated. 1950. Do remember this. The first Supreme Court of India was established by the Regulating Act of 1773 at Calcutta. Fine. Because at that time the capital of Britishers was Calcutta only. Later in 1912, Delhi was made the capital of India, and the Britishers wanted to establish a Supreme Court at Delhi as well. So by the Government of India Act 1935, a Supreme Court was established at Delhi. So the Supreme Court which we see at Delhi presently was actually established by the Government of India Act 1935, but before independence or by its establishment, it was named as Federal Court of the country and not Supreme Court. It was not named as Supreme Court at that time in the 1935. It was named as Federal Court. Fine. So till independence, its name was Federal Court only. After independence and once we enforced our constitution on 26th January 1950, we changed its name to Supreme Court. From Federal Court, it was changed to Supreme Court and it was inaugurated on 20th January 1950. Fine. I hope it is clear to you and therefore this statement is wrong and I hope we have got the answer already. But let us check the rest two statements also. Minimum 10 years of experience as an advocate is required to become the judge of Supreme Court. So this statement is given from the qualifications mentioned in the Constitution for becoming the judge of the Supreme Court. What all qualifications are there? I'll be telling it orally. If a person wants to become a judge of the Supreme Court, firstly he has to be the citizen of the country. He has to be the citizen of the country. Fine. Secondly, he should have at least a 5-year experience as a judge of the High Court. 5 years as a judge, not 10 years. Thirdly, he should have an experience of at least 10 years as an advocate of High Court. So, as a judge, he should have a 5 years of experience, or it is not that N, it is or. Either he should be a judge for 5 years, or he should have been an advocate of High Court for 10 years, or he should be a distinct jurist in the opinion of President. Fine. So these are the 3 to 4 qualifications mentioned to become a judge of the Supreme Court, and one of them is given here. Minimum 10 years of experience as an advocate. So it is true. 5 years experience as a judge he should possess, or 10 years experience of advocate. So this statement is true. Fine. Retirement age of Supreme Court judges 65 years. This is also true because retirement age of High Court judges 62 and retirement age of Supreme Court judges 65 years. We all know that the judges of Supreme Court and High Court do not have a term of 4 years, 5 years or 6 years. They have a retirement age. Even if they become a judge at the age of 35 or 40, they will continue their post, they will continue their office till they get retired. And for Supreme Court, the retirement age is 65. And for High Court judges, it is 62. So this last statement is also correct. So we have already got the answer. The answer is option B. Supreme Court of Delhi was inaugurated on 28th January 1950 and not 1949. Fine with that? So that is it with question number 11. Coming to the last question of today's session, question number 12. Which of the following statements is or are true regarding Judiciary of India? Again, the question is taken from the Judiciary part and it is a statement analysis question. Indian Judiciary is an integrated body. Is it? Yes, the statement is true. When we start studying the Indian Judiciary, we study the most important features of Judiciary as it being integrated and being independent. We say that Indian Judiciary is integrated and an independent body. Integrated means there is a hierarchy wherein at central level there is a Supreme Court and at state level there are many high courts and at local level there are district courts, session courts and subordinate courts. In India, Unlike America, judiciary is not divided or not bifurcated or not distributed according to the central or the state high courts. Like in America, there is a separate high court for the state laws, there is a separate central court for the central laws. A person seeking justice related to state high court cannot move to the central court there in America. Whereas a person seeking justice related to central laws cannot move to any high court there. If they want to seek justice related to any state laws, so they'll have to move the state high court, and that will only be the highest court of appeal for state laws. Whereas if a person needs justice related to the central laws, then he directly have to move to the central high court or central court over there. Fine. So in America, the judiciary is not integrated, it is distributed, it is differentiated. Whereas in India, there is one single judiciary system. We have a hierarchy which has a lower to upper strata. Even for a state or the local case, you can move through a channel from subordinate court to high court, and even you can go to the Supreme Court also. Fine. So India's judiciary is integrated. This statement is very true. Coming to the second statement, high court cannot issue writs. This statement is false. Because few moments ago, I told you about the writs, that judiciary issues 5 types of writs. But judiciary means what? Is it only Supreme Court? No, it is High Court as well. Indian Constitution gives the rights of issuing writs not only to the Supreme Court under Article 32, but also to the High Courts under Article 226. Under Article 226, even High Courts can issue 5 types of writs. So the statement is wrong. Coming to the third statement, judicial review is mentioned in Article 126. Is it correct? No. Judicial review is not explicitly mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. Anywhere. Judicial review, there are certain articles which indicate towards judicial review system in India, but nowhere in the Constitution, judicial review. Judicial review, what does it mean? It is a process wherein judiciary reviews the legislations, wherein judiciary reviews the policies, wherein the judiciary has the power to review anything which occurred unconstitutionally in the country. Although the concept of judicial review is there in the Constitution, but it is not directly mentioned anywhere or explicitly mentioned anywhere. So this option 3 or statement 3 is wrong. So there is only one correct option, and that is 1. And the question asks is, which of the following statement is true? So only first statement is true, and therefore option A is the correct answer. Fine. So that is it with the important questions related to those topics. I had not only dealt with the questions, but I have also explained you the concept behind those questions, and also have told you few important other things which will help you, which will benefit you in solving other MCQs as well. So study these topics, read these topics, and if you have any doubt related to the questions or these topics, you can ask me in the comment section. That is all with today's FTR session. Thank you so much.
CGPSC की संपूर्ण तैयारी के लिए कंपटीशन कम्युनिटी के YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और डेली अपडेट्स के लिए बेल आइकन को प्रेस करना ना भूलें।